Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala. Alright, so I was talking about, what was I talking about last week?
Homosexuality.
Yeah. So I didn't finish the thing. But what did I talk about so far?
You were talking about like the harms of it in society and stuff like that, and how like it doesn't fit in Islam and stuff.
Yeah. So what I want to talk about today is just the last few things, and I'll just go for revision. So I talked about how some of their arguments are like, oh, we're not harming anyone, right? And then what did he say to that?
Harming is like not really that. I don't know. I got it. Harming. It doesn't matter if it harms someone. It's still like a bad thing to do.
Yeah, even if it doesn't, it's still bad. But
disgusting.
it does still, right? So
we're just saying that just if it didn't spread anything.
Yeah. And then another one I said that they say it's natural. What's the response to that?
I mean, if it's, I forgot the response.
I didn't say the response.
Oh.
I didn't, because the adhan came and then it was over.
Oh. Okay, I got it. Okay. We're not animals.
Yeah, kind of. So yeah, I mean, just because something's natural doesn't mean it's good, right? So animals also murder one another, also rape one another.
Sure.
You know, they mutilate one another, do a lot of crazy stuff. You know, but just because it's natural doesn't mean it's right. It's the same thing, right? They say it's not harming anyone. Even if it's not harming anyone, doesn't necessarily mean it's right. Okay, so the same thing is natural. Just because it's natural. Morally correct. So also one other thing that Adyan said last week, I don't know if he even remembers, but he said something like, there's no scientific evidence that it's natural, there's no scientific, and this is also true, that they've been trying to prove like a homosexual gene or a gay gene, but then they haven't been able to prove it, and there's no scientific evidence for that. So that's another thing, that there's no scientific evidence that it's natural. They say it's natural, so even that can be questioned. Is it really natural? Okay. Alrighty, so got that down?
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing that what happens nowadays, unfortunately, some Muslims, they'll say that we need to support homosexual rights. You know, we need to do it. We need to support their rights because, you know what, we're minorities, and they're minorities. Like we're in America, we're minorities, they're minorities too. So if you want rights, we have to support their rights. You know, this isn't a thing that some Muslims say, unfortunately. Support their rights. Is there anything wrong with that? Or is that okay? Support their rights, right? I'm not saying that what they're doing is okay. We're just saying that we should support their rights.
Yeah.
They don't have rights.
Well, if you're supporting their rights, then that's against your religion.
They don't have rights.
That is something
They don't have
against.
rights?
That's against their religion.
What?
Who?
Supporting.
Oh, it's against whose religion? Our religion?
Yeah.
It's against Islam to support their rights? But, I mean, the thing is politics, right? I mean, it has nothing to do with the religion, right? It's like all politics stuff.
I mean, you're,
Well, does
I mean,
that
you're
harm
basically-
society,
I mean,
though?
you're basically, you're basically saying that it's fine. We should just let it. We should just let it.
No, they're not saying. They're saying it's a sin, but we should support their rights.
It's
That's
like,
what they're saying.
okay, but then.
Yeah, go ahead.
Doesn't religion influence politics?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but then they'll say, you know, it's secular country and religion and politics are different. So,
Well, that doesn't really apply.
but here's the thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
KKK is like a minority as well. Why would we support that?
Yeah. What about neo-Nazis?
Yeah.
You just pick and choose. Yeah, that's
about
always a problem. You pick and choose. Yeah, but also religion and politics are never truly separate. They say it's separate, but obviously whatever you believe is right is going to influence politics. Whatever you believe is wrong is going to influence politics. And then that's the same thing. I mean, if there's a Christian, he's going to bring Christianity inside politics. If you're a Muslim, you're going to bring Islam inside politics. That's how it is. So that makes no sense to support them because it's just incorrect, right? Just because you support their rights doesn't mean you're going to get more rights. Those two things aren't connected. What kind of argument is that, if you remember?
What kind of argument that is?
Yeah, we should support their rights because then we'll get more rights or something. Something
Is
along
it like
those lines.
fallacy or something?
Which kind of fallacy? I taught you like 4 or 5.
No, not false dichotomy.
Non-sequitur.
Yeah, no, it's sequitur.
Yes, because there's no connection, right, between those
Yeah,
two.
disconnection in the argument.
Yeah, and then another thing I told you, Lut alayhi salam, his wife, his wife supported the homosexuals, right? And what happened to her? She got destroyed, even though she was part of Lut alayhi salam's family. She got destroyed.
Yeah, all the people got destroyed.
And that's the thing, you're incurring the wrath of Allah upon you. So, first thing is incorrect argument. Second thing is,
Here's another one.
why incur the wrath of Allah? And again, it's not that you can't ally with other people to do something good. So, for example, let's say Christians are doing something good, they're opening a homeless shelter or something like that. So then, of course, you can ally with them because that's good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, "Ta'awanu 'ala al-birri wat-taqwa, wa la ta'awanu 'ala al-ithmi wal-'udwan," which means that you ally with other people for good, for piety, but not for evil and destruction, right? So you do alliances for good, but not for evil. But this would be an alliance for evil because you're saying, oh, let's give homosexuals more rights. Then you're increasing the evil in society, So that's incorrect. So you're not evil. So that's it. I'm gonna end homosexuality now.
Yeah, we are in homosexuality right now.
All right, so now I'm just going to revise. I don't know how much time I have left. 15 minutes. So, okay. All right, so you remember what I talked about in the last, 7-8 weeks or whatever?
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay. What was the first thing I talked about ever?
The first thing you talked about was the modern day religion, basically. I forgot the word, the name of it.
You're saying it right now. Modernism, right?
Modernism. Yeah, man. How did I forget that?
Talk about modernism. What is modernism?
The belief of morality after the 1600s. Western belief.
Not just morality. Morality is one part of it.
Morality.
Knowledge. So knowledge, existence,
And morality.
existence and morality, and beliefs about that basically after the 1600s in Europe mostly. But then they've also been spread to the Muslim world. And these things include. Can you give me some examples of what that would include?
Science.
Sure, science. What else?
Freedom.
Freedom.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, like some fields.
What's that?
Well, I mean, we gotta like clarify the field freedom.
No, I'm saying freedom of speech. The idea doesn't come from Muslims. It comes from this paradigm. That's the whole point. And what else? Like, let's say feminism, something. Feminism, women's rights, all that stuff. So that all comes from modernism, right? But what is modernism?
The belief.
Yeah, but what is it? Like, is it a religion?
No, it's a paradigm.
What's a paradigm?
The paradigm, what exists, how do we get our knowledge, what is morally right or wrong.
Yeah. So what exists for, let's say, Muslims?
What exists? The Quran exists. The Hadith exists. Can we say science exists? Because it technically does, but it does not depend on science.
Science exists as a subject that people study and then learn about the world. Sure, it exists. But
What we see exists as well.
is it like the final source of knowledge? That's where we're saying no. It is supplementary. It can be useful. It might actually be destructive. I actually want to talk about science. Anyways. But then I was like, I'll just do a revision. But yeah, so that's how you get I just want to know about what exists. So what exists for Muslims?
What we see exists as well.
What we see exists, yeah.
The unseen also
Unseen exists, like the angels, baraka, shayateen. So all that stuff exists. For a modernist, all that stuff doesn't exist, or we can't be sure of it. It doesn't really matter. And what only exists is material stuff, right? So what you can see and what science proves, that stuff exists. So even science sometimes talks about things that we can't see, right? Like for example, they talk about gravity. You can't see gravity. You can't see a force pulling you, like literally, or you can't see atoms and molecules. But since science says it, they trust science because that's how they get knowledge, right? And then what is right and wrong? Then they have these ideologies like feminism, freedom of speech, all that stuff, right? Okay, so that's what a paradigm is. That's the most important thing I think we've done in this class, probably. All right, what is pluralism?
Pluralism, belief in all religion. Belief in all of the religions.
Yeah, you want to believe that all religions lead to?
Yeah, heaven.
Yeah. All religions. Heaven or salvation, Okay. And why is there a problem with this?
Because each religion contradicts each other.
Okay, each religion contradicts one another. Can you give an example?
The Quran says that the people that don't believe in Islam will go to hell.
Okay. Okay, what's the contradiction?
And other religions say their way will lead them to heaven. So,
yeah. Again, more specific, right? So, for example, Quran says that if you believe that Jesus Christ, Isa alayhi salam, is the Son of God, then this is kufr, and this will lead you to hellfire. And then the Christians will say that if you don't believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God, then you'll go to hellfire. See, there's a clear contradiction. It's like that. So that's why pluralism fails. You can't say that all religions are leading to heaven or salvation when they're all contradicting each other on a very base level. All right. What is atheism?
Atheism is belief that there's no God.
Yeah.
Or no higher power.
And all religions are false, right?
Yeah, and all religions are false.
So what is wrong with that?
Well, you have to have a basis of morality and stuff, and you can't just base it off yourself.
Yeah, not just morality, but even knowledge, existence,
Yeah,
all
exactly.
that stuff. It all goes out the window when you throw out
Religion,
yeah,
in general.
exactly. So, what is one argument that atheists say?
They say that science gives you all the answers, right?
Science is the only way to truth.
Yeah.
Something like that. So science is the only way to truth. And what is wrong with that?
You can't prove science is the only way to truth.
Yeah, you can't prove it. So you can't prove this statement from science. Scientifically, you can't say this is correct. There's no scientific paper or experiment that shows this to be true, and therefore the statement refutes itself, right? If science is the only way to truth, then this statement is not true.
That's a circle question or something, right?
Self-contradiction.
Self-contradiction,
Okay. Alrighty. What else? What else did I talk about? Oh, I talked about modernism. It splits into two. Modernism.
Yeah, so scientism, and then
I didn't go much into depth into these two, but and what else?
scientism. starts with a P or something, right?
Sure. Progressivism.
Progressivism, right?
So scientism is what?
Scientism is belief in science.
It's basically this.
Yeah.
Science is the only way to
Yeah.
truth. That's what scientism is. What is progressivism?
Everything in the past is basically dumb. And
Yeah, we're getting
the more
better
we
and
get
better.
smarter,
Yeah, we're getting smarter and better. Alright. So what's wrong with this? For a Muslim at least. What's wrong?
Yeah, well, we believe that Prophet Muhammad
Sallallahu
is we have to live the life he lived, and saying that's dumb is
Yeah. So he's in the past, and then you can't say things are getting better when he was the best human to ever exist. Then you can't say that, oh, we're getting better. No, it's the opposite. The Hadith
we're
actually
getting
says,
worse.
Yeah, we're getting worse. Yeah. Scientism, we already said this is what's wrong with it. All right. Here's this. So talked about feminism, correct?
yeah.
What is feminism?
Women want equality.
Totally equality.
Yeah, equality between the genders. Okay. How many waves does feminism have?
3.
What are they?
The first wave was voting.
Okay.
Women get the ability to vote.
First wave, voting. What is second wave?
Second wave is women and men have equal rights.
Yeah. So total equality. And what is third wave?
There are multiple genders.
Third wave, yeah. Multiple genders. And we have to basically equal rights for all genders, not just men and women anymore, right? All genders. Which could be like trans or whatever, you know, all that stuff.
Transformers.
Yeah, transformers. Exactly. All right. Do you remember some of the arguments of the feminists?
Why can't women be like leaders or something?
Yeah, sure. That's like, sure. That's not. Did I say that argument? I
know
don't
you
remember
did
that. I said like, for example, one thing they say is "my body, my choice." You know, remember that?
I thought that was homosexuality.
Huh?
I thought that was homosexuality.
No, they don't say "my body, my choice." That's a feminist thing. They say "my body, my choice." So, for example, you know, a Muslim feminist would say that, look, you know, don't tell me to wear hijab. It's my body, my choice. You know? I can do whatever I want. You know? So what's wrong with that? It's her body, right? So it's up to her if she wants to wear hijab.
Isn't that technically like against their religion?
But how? It's her body, right? What's wrong with it? I told you. Look at the statement. There's something wrong with the statement?
I mean,
That's the kind of questions that are going to be on the test.
I forgot. I probably have it written down as well.
Yeah, my body. So the problem is,
The fact that all of
like,
it-
how did she get her body? Did she buy it somewhere, or how did she get her body? She purchased it. She went on Amazon, looked for it. Like, how did she get it? How'd she get her body?
Don't forget to install honey.
Huh?
Don't forget to install honey.
Exactly. So how'd she get her body? It's very easy.
She got it from Allah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave her the body. That's how is it her body? It's not her body, right? And it's not her choice. Finish. That's it. Simple. Right? So that's one thing they say. Muslim feminists, they also bring some arguments. They'll say stuff like Khadija radiallahu anha was like a CEO, for example. They'll say that. But what's wrong with that?
She wasn't like seeing the men. She had like a curtain in front of her.
Yeah, she worked from home.
Yeah, she
She wasn't working like in a corporate office life or something. She worked from home. She didn't interact with like men all the time. She employed other men to do basically outside things, right? The public stuff. So it's called. I didn't teach you that fallacy. Never mind. but basically, they're making an example that shouldn't be made, right? So you're making an example of Khadija radiallahu anha 1400 years ago to a woman in a corporate office like today, which is very different context. Okay. Is that it? Is that all taught?
Then we talked about the homosexuality, which you already talked about. So
Yeah. The last thing I talked about is homosexuality, about how something is spreading like really fast, and they're trying to make Muslims accept it. But then I talked about what is one like basic evidence in the Quran that homosexuality is something really evil.
The Lut alayhi salam.
The story of
their
Lut alayhi
example.
salam, right?
That's
Exactly.
their example.
What happened to those people?
They got destroyed.
Right. And Lut alayhi salam basically said to them that, why do you come to, very explicitly, why do you come to men instead of the women? Why are you having desires for men instead of women? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls them musrifun. That means they go to excesses, they go beyond the bounds, So these are all like clear evidences. And some of their arguments are like, we're consenting, so there's nothing wrong with it.
The thing is, consent is not a basis of morality.
Exactly. So almost everything is like what you're saying is not a basis for morality. They're not harming anyone. Harm is not necessarily a basis for morality, right? It's natural. Nature is not a basis for morality. So all these things, you can just put it in that way. I think that's it. It's time for Maghrib 2. I'm going to end the class. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.